Hello and welcome to this episode of FinTech Focus TV, brought to you by Harrington Starr, global leaders in financial technology recruitment. Head over to the Harrington Starr website today, where you'll be able to download our brand new documentary, The Era of Convergence, which charts the merger of traditional and decentralized finance. You'll also be able to see our new magazine, The Financial Technologist, with the top 1% Workplace Awards. Enjoy the show and we'll see you soon. Hello and welcome to another episode of FinTech Focus TV with me, Toby. Today I am absolutely delighted. We've had a great chat just before coming on air today to introduce you to Matt Sutika from Obie Insurance. Matt, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day here in Florida.
Absolutely. It looks, I can see it starting to stream in through the window. We're starting to get to a little bit of spring now.
I'm trying to get that vitamin D. You know?
Well, we've not had it too much over here for the last couple of months, but slowly, we're starting to see a little bit of break in the clouds, so we won't be too far behind you. But I'm jealous. Matt, we've been talking all things InsureTech beforehand today. I think it's a really interesting. A lot of the companies we've been in are very much in that capital markets, fintech sort of space. We've been talking a lot about open banking. InsureTech is something which has always fascinated me because I think it's a real opportunity in a space there where you've got an immense amount to grow. We were talking beforehand how I think it's lagged slightly in terms of other areas. And to me, when you see an industry that's lagged slightly, it means there's a massive spell of growth and opportunity and innovation that's due to come pretty soon. And digital innovation seems to be very much at the core of that. You guys are very much at the core of the core. So I'm looking forward to unpacking all of that in a second. But before we get into it all, Matt, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and Obie as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am an ultimate insurance guy. I have gone through the captive, independent, and now in the InsureTech space with Obie. So I was the resident insurance guy when Aaron and Ryan and myself all started working on this journey a few years back. And me personally, real quick, just because I just got to name drop my 18-month-old son because he's my favorite thing right now. But I'll just do that and move back to the fun stuff. But you know what, Obie, yeah, we've been around. We're really trying to do a few unique things. Not only, be an InsureTech company and provide what a lot of the rest of the InsureTech companies provide, which we can dive into, but we're trying to bring opportunity to our niche of the rental space for the landlord space. We're trying to go into what you'll hear me call InsureTech 3.0, which is, delivery insurance where customers are already at. And, in the last piece, we are trying to, enhance the tools that you see. As you alluded to, we are one of the industries that's been kind of last to get the tech or last to get the people interested in, which has always been crazy to me as the insurance guy because I love the industry. But, we are starting to provide some tools not only to individual brokers, but, the space in general. So we got a lot on our plates, and I feel like we have our normal business model, but we're also, kind of a pioneer for the InsureTech and just overall insurance space.
You talked to me about the journey just there and said you've been on this journey for a little while. Talk to me about when you started. And how it's going and how you've grown over that time.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we started at the most ideal time. It was April of 2020. Now, my partners and I started, my two business partners, Aaron and Ryan, they started Obie about a year or two before then. They went through an incubation thing here called the Y Combinator. It's like an incubator, right? There you go out and, pitch your idea and they help you grow it and, get some seed money, stuff like that. So that was, I believe, in summer of 19. That's when really things picked up. They went through there. That's when they decided that we were going to be an InsureTech for the real estate space, or more specifically, the 1 to 4 unit rental space. At the time, I was built and was working on an insurance brokerage for a big real estate company called Century 21. And Aaron and I and Ryan were, partners. We were working together. And ultimately, I decided to make the jump there in the spring to come on to Obie full time and kind of help grow. And then from there, I brought over a team of maybe 7 or 8. And, now flash forward, I think we just crossed the 100 employee mark. So grown pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
Over that time, which is great. We've been lucky to get through a couple funding rounds. There's been good interest there from the VC side, which is always nice. You got to pay the bills and the lights and to keep this all going. So that's been good. And And
You know what?
ultimately,
I love.
yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to jump in very
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
I always love it when people like you have been on that journey say we're lucky to get some funding, because because I never believe that luck is a part of that sort of thing. I don't think VCs that sort of luckily throw cash at people or angels or anyone in that sort of
Oh
case
yeah.
do it. There's usually a mixture of a really cracking idea, a lot of hard work, and a great team that's put in place there. So I'll let you be humble, but I'll take the bit there where I say there's probably something that's behind all of that.
I appreciate that. It's easy for me to be humble for a couple reasons. One, it's behind us, and and that's naturally my personality. But two, full credit goes to Aaron and Ryan, who actually went through the coffee meetings, grind, business. Like they really, I got to like get the call at the end, like, hey, we have a couple offer. What do we want? Like, I got to be on that side. Those two really were the guys who get all the credit for as it relates to our VC and stuff like that. And, me and the team, of course, hopefully help them put together a better business plan to present and things like that. But ultimately, those guys were the grinders. So easy for me to say lucky, or it wasn't that bad because I didn't have to do all the
Stand on the shoulders of giants,
VC
right?
calls. Yeah. So. But yeah, no, so lucky, happy, whatever, to be, a good company. We also are doing good with our business model, right? Like, we have the VC funding to kind of put some gasoline into it, but also we have a really good business model going that is bringing in clients and partnering with other companies that brings in business. And, we have good employees, and I call them the tech team, but I think it's product and engineering would be the more fancy term for it. And
That's what, don't let them hear you say.
Yeah, P&E and all that, but I call them the tech team is phenomenal. They've been building great stuff for us. Everything's from scratch. And yeah, it's just been a really exciting journey to, get to where we're at today, because our vision when we were sitting down, Aaron and Ryan had an awesome vision for what they wanted to do in InsureTech and space. And I was pounding the table that this was the perfect niche from what I've seen from like helping other InsureTech companies and being around, that this was the perfect combination. We need more tech in the space. And then this rental space is the ticket. It is just an awesome space. So it's really cool to flash forward now, I guess, 3 years, to the day here, right? To actually see everything playing out the way we wanted. And there's been some roadblocks along the way. There's also been some successes that we didn't expect to, right? But ultimately we have a well-funded, good employees, I think great product, good partners. And yeah, we're just still at the tip of the iceberg as far as the opportunity.
I always love hearing that sort of stuff. And I love hearing, I've been really fortunate to sort of sit here and hear great businesses who strives over a really difficult period for numerous different reasons over the last couple of years. It always energizes me speaking to cool people doing cool things. And I think, when we talk there about, jokingly about the VCs and then, putting money behind the right things, a lot of it is always about size and scale of marketplace and need and necessity. So you spoke a little bit earlier on about the concept of InsureTech 3.0. Talk to us about the journey from InsureTech to InsureTech 2.0 to 3.0 and where it's heading and what the size and scale of that opportunity and what that vision looks like to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So it started out with, I guess, non-InsureTech, right? Which was hang your shingle, build an office, in the town square or the city or whatever, and people came to you, or maybe they called you on the telephone, things like that. Then the first InsureTech 1.0 actually that I give credit to is like the Progressives and the Geicos, who started to do the call center, 15 minutes, save 10%. That was the first InsureTech 1.0 that doesn't a lot of times get the recognition, but they were the first ones to start using the tech we had at the time, which was call centers and, phone and TV advertisement, mailers. That sounds really old school now, but at the time, that's what made them build some pretty nice businesses, right? And be a thorn in the side to the industry for those who were still just hanging the shingle and hoping people would come. And, so you can see the disruption, right? Every time we go to a next level, there's some disruption, which is good. InsureTech 2.0 is who I call our forefathers, which is like the Lemonade, Hippo, Openly, Clearcover, Root, the first ones to be considered an InsureTech, right? Where they came in and they were driving for market share. They were acquiring through, Google and, spending money and really providing this direct to consumer product. And then the 2.5 was when they realized that profits mattered, loss ratio mattered. And oh, by the way, let's not kick the IA channel. They actually could be good partners. And, and I'm hard on them now, but I actually love all those companies and big fan of just every insurance company. they realized that like, hey, what I've always realized is that InsureTech is here to provide technology, tools, and a better ability for the end consumer to eventually get insurance. You don't necessarily have to kick players out or take away. You can actually enhance or partner or strengthen people who already have these clients. So you started to see that in the 2.5 mark, the InsureTech 2.5. And then ultimately the 3.0, which I'm passionate about and where we really started, was providing insurance where clients are already at. You imagine going into your Amazon account today, and on the right-hand side, it just says, hey, Matt, click here to bind a homeowner's quote. We already have all the data on your house because we've seen you ship packages there for, the last 10 years. We know that's your primary residence, or we assume it is. And we've used data to pull all the year built and all the other stuff because it's available. And we have, I don't know, Hippo quote or, whoever the carrier is, right? And click here to bind, right? And so now, why do people go to Amazon? I go to Amazon to order my toothpaste. Not that I can't stop at the store on the way home, but it's efficient. I'm already maybe on Amazon to order supplies. Why not just do it all, right? And so I think that's the InsureTech 3.0 as being where people are at. So for us specifically, we're using the term embedded, like we're embedding our insurance products into, prop tech companies, lenders, anywhere that our end user client is already visiting on a daily basis, their bank, their property manager, the way that they acquire a property, maybe where they store their property, various things. Heck, we might put it in where they, they go to pay their lawn bill for all their properties and be on the right-hand side. But ultimately, if we can make it one step easier for the client to obtain insurance, use data so they don't have to spend a lot of time to give you info that half their clients would probably just go to Google and look up on their own properties because they might not have the year built and all this stuff memorized anyways, right? So let's pull it for them. Let's provide it where they're already at. And we're not then trying to do what InsureTech 1.0 did, which was like saving money. We're trying to create opportunity costs. We're trying to give you time back. So ultimately, if you're already in your prop tech system, you can have an insurance product with us like that because it's digital. Otherwise, you got to go call a broker. You got to go maybe fill out a form. You do this. That might take hours, days to get that quote and turned around or whatever. Even if you save $50 compared to what we're offering, right? What's the opportunity cost of that? Your time, energy, like the whole nine, right? So that's what we're really concentrating on. Is we're wanting to save people money through saving people time, creating efficiencies, and really just meeting the consumer where they're already going every day. And that to me is where InsureTech 3.0 is. And if we talk in a year, I'll probably have a 4.0 for you because I'm always thinking about maybe what the next thing is. But right now, I think that's a pretty hot item. And even like the AI kind of falls into that eventually as AI gets that, that's probably another wormhole, but AI and collection of data would just probably fit into this 3.0 or 3.5. I
think it's really interesting, isn't it? The sort of 0.0ing of everything. So I've got another business called Search 5.0, which is based on the whole concepts of Industry 5.0. So, as we've seen industry evolve, Industry 5.0 is now all about this sort of this merge of man and machine. And we were speaking about this earlier on because I think this is something which is really interesting. There's a lot of fear around AI, and I think that if you read the wrong sort of press, you're going to be looking at it and saying, the machines are coming for our jobs. You watch the wrong sort of films, and all of a sudden you've got Terminators coming in there and battling mankind and fighting for our future. But I think the really interesting part of Industry 5.0 for us is about making human-centered workplaces. And I think if you're looking at where InsureTech 3.0 comes from and where it's heading, it's about looking at these sort of things and saying, right, this is and you said this, so I'm stealing this directly from you before we came on air, which is where you talked about enhancing, not replacing. And I love that because that to me is what great tech is all about. So when you're talking about, and I'm piecing together why VCs invest in various different companies, I speak to a lot of VC companies, we work closely with a lot of VC companies, you can imagine, in the day job. But I think what they talk about is saying, right, is there something here that removes friction from a marketplace, is something which people need, is something there which increases efficiency, reduces cost. And we were talking beforehand about the whole digital revolution, the concept of the smartphone, and how instant gratification of just needing everything where it is at the touch of a button near to you, making it as friction free as I say before, to available to the consumer. That's where everyone wants to be, right? And when you're talking about this sort of lagging legacy industry, which insurance has been, to have something like what you're doing into it, to make it, as user friendly as you say, as ordering your toothpaste on Amazon, that's a super exciting bit, which enhances people's lives, which makes it investable, but also it makes it super usable for an area where you're saying, right, where is the growth in the space? And you spoke about that before, as well as it being a marketplace and a niche, which has got scale, but also got need behind it. And I find that really, really exciting. Talk to me about the journey, about how that all came together.
Yeah. So really how it came was, I'm going to give credit to Amazon, right? Like, I've been a beaten down broker. I've been in a good shape broker. And what I mean by that is, in the insurance space, Progressive and Geico, what they did was make it all about money, right? Like savings. And so I wanted to build a company to do what Amazon did and not make it about money. When I buy on Amazon, I probably buy maybe always top cost. I don't even know. Like when I buy that toothpaste at $3, I don't know if it's actually $1 in the store. I never go, right?
Yeah.
It's not worth it to me to find out, right? Like, be frank. And so I'm like, how can we re-message the industry, right? Like, so we're trying to do a simple business, but also like there's some re-messaging. Like Progressive and Geico tried to do a simple business, right? Auto insurance, but they also re-messaged the whole industry that it was about time and savings. And for me, we're trying to re-message. So that's how we built the company, was in this idea of that Amazon, because they're providing something that you can forget about price for a second, you can concentrate on, like, does it enhance my day? Does it save me time? Is it super easy, right? Like, it's so easy searching where I can just I think about, I want something right now. I search it, I click it, and I can buy it. It's got my address built into it. My credit card's already there. Can you imagine how less people would use Amazon if you didn't have credit cards stored, addresses stored, things like that, even where you had to like call someone at the end of the transaction to actually like take your card over the phone? You wouldn't use it, right? And so we happened to pick the rental space because we thought it had a lot of upside and we could really be a great partner in their need to a capacity. But why we got into the InsureTech space is that we felt we could kind of re-message a lot. And that was really our driving factor, to be honest, to be, what Amazon's been, is a game-changing disruptor to distribution, to how people get their insurance, and be very helpful, right? I think a lot of people would say that Amazon helps them. I very rarely see that people, I never hear someone's like, you know what, I hate Amazon because they make things so easy to buy something, right? Like it doesn't make sense. And we want that with the insurance. I want it to be like, I love Obie, or I love InsureTech, or I love obtaining these policies, because now when I go to my broker, I can just go to their website and digitally get a policy through Obie, or through my prop tech, I can just get a policy at 3 a.m. because I have a W-2 job. So I can't do my rentals during the day. I got to be an engineer, but at night when everybody's closed, I can access a policy. So that's really what we're streaming for, is to, meet people where they're at, help them, and really change the mindset of the industry, which has been a very savings, price-driven thing, but all at the cost of your time. Like for the last 15 years, people have been saving a lot of money, but it hasn't been just in 15 or 10 minutes. It's been in hours, days, and years of their time. And that's more valuable, as anybody listening to this will know, than to save $100, right? If I can give you an hour back, who doesn't think that their hours worth $100? I'll tell you right now, hour with my kid, you couldn't price that, right? Like, and that's why I do Amazon. And that's why I hope people come to the InsureTech, come to Obie, etc. You'll never hear me like, come to Obie, you can save money. They'll never come out of my mouth. No, I used to in my State Farm days, because that's, that was the thing, but not anymore.
Yeah. I think that's so important to say, isn't it? Because it's what we're looking for. And I think the whole construct of time has changed a lot as well. People doing things at times which suit them, as opposed to the classic 9 till 5. And if you can't knock on a door or pick up and have a phone picked up during office hours when you're working traditionally over that sort of period, it's a hassle. It's difficult, right? And to be able to say, look, I can do this on my terms and get answers at that sort of stage. This is about enhancing, and then still having the opportunities. When we talked about the replace bit, enhancing, not replace. The not replace bit is you still want to have that thing. We were talking beforehand about relationships, right? The importance of building relationships and doing business with people face to face, and over the phone and invoice, as opposed to just through bots. But the whole concept of there is how can you make that process, get rid of all of the unnecessary faffing for it? How can you make it as convenient for me as possible to do it? Google's another classic example alongside Amazon. I love the whole concept of how they constantly trying to find as few clicks and as few words as possible on the homepage. So it makes it as easy as possible for you to do, to find whatever you want to do in the world. And I often think back to that about when I was growing up about, you wanted to find an answer. You're in the encyclopedia and trying to work out what's what and where and not having the access to the same sort of thing. It blows my mind about how easy it is for the kids these days to be able to do that. That's something mine is slightly older than
you had to call the version of Google then, which was like, call your parents.
Yeah,
or ask the neighbor,
exactly.
Right? Like
how did they get
that
wise,
was Google.
How did they get
my mom still thinks she is Google and it's good as Google, but that's another story.
Yeah, especially with net doctors, they know a lot around all of that sort of stuff. So look, let's talk a little bit about Obie itself. So it's been a cracking journey that you speak about so far. In a relatively short space of time, you started to make an impact on our industry. You've had people back it, which I think is always the great validation. It's not just you thinking we're on something, but it's other people who are ready to put their money, time, and trust into that same thing as well. You've gone through a pandemic. I know Florida sort of was almost immune to it, but at various different stages. But you've gone through a pandemic there, which slowed a lot of businesses down. But also, it was a time which I think poured, to use your analogy earlier on, poured gasoline on digital transformation at that sort of stage, which was an accelerator to everyone. We're now in a different time with different challenges. And whilst, we're not the same sort of threats that the pandemic were brought to us, there's a lot of volatility out there in the economy and in tech itself, with everything that's been happening recently. There's challenges that sort of approach people. Tell us how you navigate that and what's next for Obie. Continued rise, continued growth.
Yeah. I think next for us is just to, continue to, enhance our products. We are in the stage right now getting a lot of consumer information, independent brokers right now. We just launched with them. So we're going to get some data there. And then ultimately, I think for us, we started with 4 units. I think there's a lot that we can do to expand unit count, capacity, opportunity. Ultimately, people that are clients of ours are needing other products, from umbrella to various other products that they're going to run into in the insurance space. And then, just like Amazon had web services, I'm giving them a lot of credit today. Like, we're really trying to concentrate on being that within this spaces, right? As a disruption overall. We started with rentals, but maybe that's our books one day, right? And ultimately, like, who knows? But right now, we're really concentrating on the books. We're really concentrating on building that identity and just providing a great product to our partners, a great product that our IA channel can distribute to their clients. And again, I think, next time we talk, I'll probably have the 4.0 for you. But right now, that's the thick of it. That's the way that we're in the heat of really, making a lot of the things I talked about on here actually happen, which is great.
Sounds fantastic and great fun as well. So there'll be a lot of people watching this who are interested, want to find out a little bit more, want to unpack the Obie story. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yep. The easiest way is probably through any social media, minus not on the TikTok, but any of the other social media. If you look at my name, I'm the only Matt Sutika that I've ever met. So pretty easy to find. That's sometimes good, sometimes bad, but yes, there. You can go to obieinsurance.com and, from one of those 2 places, you're able to email me, text me, what's it called? Slide into the DMs, whatever you want to do. Pretty happy. I'll respond to you pretty quickly on any of those. Everything's on the cell phone with a notification now. So
no, it's great, right?
Hold to someone in 100 different ways. We didn't even go into like WhatsApp and all these other things that are available.
I just want to see you on TikTok now. Give your kid a couple of more years, and I'm sure you'll be on there.
My wife loves it. I just, I have my mainstays. I'm like a LinkedIn, Facebook, like old school guy. My wife is like Instagram, TikTok, because she's like hip and cool. But us old insurance guys, we stick to our Facebook and LinkedIn. So.
Well, I'm looking forward to Sutika 3.0 coming in the not too distant
I know.
future.
With the TikToks, I'm going to be right in your newsfeed here shortly.
Listen, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you. I love hearing, as I said before, about great businesses doing cool things, and you're right up there in that category. Keep up the great work, and thanks for coming on the show. I've been Toby, you've been Obie. It's been great talking to you today, and thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And thank you all for watching. We will see you soon on another episode of FinTech Focus TV. Thanks a lot. Very well done, mate.
Yeah. Plus, like you've been Obie, I've been Toby, or I've been like
Just
what
came up
a
with that.
perfect rhyme, right? Like I like
came
that.
up
I
with
was like,
that.
that is I like that. I was like, that is good. If you just, that is
I just need
nice.
to drop that mic.